That's why I always start with people's personal experiences, because I'm like, I can't expect to be able to communicate with you about anti-racism. I'm a fairly privileged person. I have a roof over my head. I have like food to eat. Like I have a car to get from A to B. I'm able to do things. I'm have freedom of movement. So I try to remember that that's not everybody, and that it wasn't me for a long time either. And so it helps me.
Right, right. It's a lot easier to go along, especially when there are large public figures that are, that are racist and overt about it, and it's easy to go along with them, right? And they're not all, overt Klansmen, right? They're very smooth about it, and there are organizations that will talk about equity and inclusion that are really talking about maintaining white supremacy, right? Because they'll talk about discrimination against white folks, racial discrimination against white folks, and the reality is that there may be many different ways that white people are oppressed. You can be oppressed in many different ways. It's not because you're white, though. That's not happening. And I think that we have to, think about the folks that we're trying to connect with and that may be open to doing more, doing better. Um, One of the things that I try to get across in the book, and I try to get across in general, is that this is no different than other things that we value, right? So I think in the book I used environmentalism as an example. I can't remember, but if you care about the environment, then it's a core value of yours. You live that out every day, right? You don't have to think about it. It's not everything you talk about. It's not everything you do, but when it's relevant, it's there in your mind, right? So and you will speak up about it in whatever way makes sense, right? It doesn't mean that that's the only books you ever read anymore, and it's the only thing you talk about in your in your relationships, but it means that you recognize when it's relevant and when you can make a difference. It's about your values to me, and if you genuinely value it, it just becomes a part of your normal decision making process, right? This is one more variable in your decision making and what you do in the world. And, I think that can help some people that feel like the only way they can make a difference is if they now dedicate their entire existence to this one thing, right? And I wouldn't discourage anybody from that, but it's also not the only way to have impact.
That's a
You know?
great
Yeah.
great statement, and I think a lot of people are going to need to hear what you just said there.